My name is Chris Vananda, and I'm the Cybersecurity Architect at Success Computer Consulting. Several months ago, we received a call late afternoon on a Thursday from a local business who had fallen victim to a ransomware attack. If you're not familiar with what ransomware is, that's where an attacker encrypts all of your data, making it inaccessible by you, unless you pay them a ransom. When the client had called, they had already lost dozens of servers and an untold number of workstations. The attacker was requesting $1.5 million, and it was continuing to spread rapidly. So our first step was to have them disconnect all critical servers that had not been encrypted yet from the network and their backups. We then disabled all remote access to the network, disabled wireless access in all their offices, and even severed or disabled the communication links between the remote sites and the data center to prevent it from spreading further. So we had a team of individuals from our security team working with their IT staff literally around the clock 24/7 for 2 weeks, just to get core functionality back up and get the incident contained. So they went at least 4 days with no network at all. That meant no email, no printing, no file access, literally nothing. After about 4 days, some core functionality was restored, such as the ability to print and access your email, and that was really about it. It took about 2 full weeks to get most functionality back up and running. So at that point, they had access to their files. Most systems were allowed back on the network at that point, but they weren't fully restored for several months after that. During this process, we discovered that the attackers had actually been on the network for over 2 months before they decided to deploy the ransomware. And that's actually pretty common because the average dwell time an attacker is on a network before being detected is 78 days currently. So what's the difference between a server crash and a breach such as this? If you have a server crash, you know the full scope immediately, and oftentimes you'll know the exact steps in advance in order to recover your systems. So you can have predictability. You can tell your staff that, hey, we'll be back online in 4 hours, or worst case the next day, or something like that. But if you have a breach such as this, you can't even begin to restore anything until you've contained the attacker, know the full scope of it, because it can happen again. I've seen time and time again, and in this case too, where files were restored and then they were simply re-encrypted because the attacker was still on the network. So you need to make sure that they're off the network, and you can't do that quickly. That takes a lot of time.